Good morning. Welcome to 1 Million Cups Dallas. So excited to have you here. My partner in crime, Jessica, she's here somewhere. I think she's having some tech difficulties, so she'll be joining us soon. My name is Jasmine Brand, and I'm one of the Dallas organizers for the 1 Million Cups chapter for Dallas. We've got several chapters here. I believe we may actually have 6 now. I can't keep up sometimes. So, but we're coming to you virtually for now. Every 2 weeks, we've been coming virtually to you since the start of the year. We also were trying to figure out how to pivot last year as well too. So, but we are so excited to be coming back in person. I have to keep it real. I like being a little bit of quarantine at home. I've been so productive. I feel like I've been drinking more water. I've been sleeping better, reading, cooking at home. So I'm hoping that as things open up, that I will still keep some of these really good habits as things start to come back. But I'm really excited though for a lot of our businesses to have a chance to finally operate fully. Although I know here in Texas, we've been doing our own thing for a little bit, but it's still been a bit of a transition since we all kind of went in quarantine. So 1 Million Cups is a meetup for Dallas founders. We have been around for quite some time. I believe the Dallas chapter was the first here in North Texas, which we're really proud about. And normally we come to you every week on Wednesday at 9 a.m. We usually have donuts, coffee, and just a lot of opportunity for networking. It's really hard in a city that's as big as Dallas to meet people, to also connect, but also too, even if you're not an entrepreneur or founder, it's a really cool way. 1 Million Cups has always been a really cool way for you to stay plugged into what's happening, what's cool in the city. So we're excited to kind of bring that back to you in person very soon. We still have a little bit of the cool vibe virtually. It's different though, right? I mean, as we all are trying to adapt and kind of do things virtually and pivot, we still want to keep the momentum going. Founders still got to get up, still got to grind, still got to make things happen. And so we introduce you to sometimes 1, sometimes 4. We've had at one time different founders around the city that are doing really cool stuff. 1 Million Cups is a community-driven platform. There are chapters around the country. And the premise is that big things can happen. Ideas can really, truly move forward over 1 million cups of coffee. So it's really about the community. And we've tried to keep community going here virtually, and also just keeping founders with the sense of a platform and somewhere to get plugged into. Now, we're the Dallas chapter, but as most people that live in Dallas know, people that are from Dallas or originally or maybe just moved here, we really are a big metroplex. So we bring founders to you from all around the metroplex, although we're based in Dallas. And when we are meeting in person, our meetups are in Dallas. But we introduce you to founders all over. So sometimes you'll meet some founders. We had someone last time from New York, I believe, who was really awesome. But then also too, a lot of the cool thing about 1 Million Cups is you can kind of go around as a founder and present at the different chapters, which I think is A, really great publicity and PR for your company, but B, awesome way for you to get your pitch, get feedback for the community. And that's the other big piece too, is as you tune into this, whether you're tuning in live or you watch this later in the week, please, if you got feedback, we've got an incredible founder this morning. I'm going to butcher the name of her company. I just kind of have a feeling. I'm on the second cup of coffee, so I'm hoping by the time we bring Jen on, we'll get the name right. But it looks like a really cool premise and a really cool idea. So I'm excited for you all to meet her. But show her some love in the comments. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Give her some feedback. If you watch this later in the week, you can definitely still give her feedback and we'll make sure we'll share that to her. But that's really what our community is about, giving founders a platform to present and share their ideas, but more importantly, the community being here as a resource too. Now, I teased a little bit about us meeting in person. Now, Jessica is going to get really annoyed because I teased about us meeting in person last time or maybe a meeting before, and she had court. She's an attorney. She couldn't make it. So she keeps thinking this is me wanting to do this around her back and reveal all these really exciting news. Jessica, I'm not, if you're watching this, if you're on your way and you're trying to get logged in, I'm just giving tidbits and secret and little kind of hints. We will be coming back in person for our first in-person event for Dallas Startup Week. Okay, that is kind of a big deal. Sorry, Jessica. But we'll do it big as soon as you come on. We'll talk about it in full detail. But I do want to tell you all to save the date, August 1st through August 5th. I do believe, now I've been into many, many Dallas Startup Weeks, and I've participated in them in multiple levels. From an organizing perspective, I've hosted, I've emceed, all kinds of stuff. I feel like this one is going to be huge. Like, I'm thinking about what I'm going to wear already. That's how big I think this is going to be, because it is going to be hybrid. So you can tune in from virtual, which I think is awesome anyway, because it's called Dallas Startup Week, but people from around the city come to this convergence of the startup community for an entire week. But there's in person too. And 1 Million Cups is a featured event this year. So excited about that. And we will be hosting our first in-person event there. Now, I'm not going to reveal too much more. I'll wait till my partner in crime comes back so we can give you the full details. But I believe the DEC, which is the nonprofit and the community organization, one of our big organizations here in the community for entrepreneurs, it's powered by the DEC. So they will be revealing all the cool details in June. We'll be sharing more about it as well. But 1 Million Cups will have a big presence there. We're going to have food, y'all. Trying to work out some giveaways. Jessica will be there with her cheesy jokes. I mean, it's going to be really, really fun. But I think it's going to be really, really big too. I'm so excited. And it is free, just like 1 Million Cups is. It is a free week-long event of programming, sessions, networking. So excited for it that it's coming back. It came back last year, but of course it had a pivot too. So I want to go ahead and get started. But first, let me also include, we're on all the social channels. So if you want to stay plugged in, we'll start revealing a little bit more details about our in-person event. But we also are looking to build back our organizing team. Before COVID, we had a team of about 5 to 7 individuals, entrepreneurs, and people just love to be part of the community, that would join us every Wednesday as kind of co-hosts, welcomers, greeters, but also help to find founders. We're going to be looking to build that team back up. I know you guys love Jessica and I, but it can't just be about us. As I said in the beginning, this is a community-run organization. We want it to look and represent the community. We want both men and women on it. We want it to be diverse. So if you're interested in being part of the organizing team for our very first in-person event, the Startup Week will kick off 1 Million Cups returning back to weekly events, which we're so excited about in August. But if you're interested in being a part of this team, and it's volunteer ran, so you can organize it on your own schedule. You know, it's the same time, Wednesday at 9 a.m. Feel free to shoot us a DM on any of our social channels. You can also shoot us an email at dallas@1millioncups.com. If you know me personally, hit me up. Say, Jasmine, I'd like to be involved. What does this entail? We'd love to have you. You can be as involved or as much or as little as you want to be. So totally open to you. If you'd like to co-host one of these virtual events, if you're trying to get want to get more involved and get your business and your name out there, we'd love to have you involved. We welcome everybody. So without further ado, I want to go ahead and welcome our founder this week. One of the cool things about 1 Million Cups is we are open for everyone. It's not just tech founders. It's not just experienced startups that have been around for 5+ years. If you just started an idea, if you've been around for a long time, if you're creative, if you are a tech founder, we're here for you. We're here for a platform. And the cool thing is we also sometimes will invite, and a lot of times we'll invite the founders to come back 6 months to a year later to see where they are. So I'm excited to bring on Jen so she can talk to us about, now I'm going to guess, Jen, it's Milestonia. Is that correct?
You got it.
You're awesome. The coffee kicked in. Yes. Thank you so much for joining 1 Million Cups. Dallas, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, for sure. So before we give you the stage and let tell us more about your business and your company, can you tell us a little about who you are? How'd you get started? How long have you been a founder?
Sure. Well, it got started fairly recently. We launched during COVID. And but as a team, we'd been working together for many years, and Milestonia was a culmination of our management philosophy as a team. We ended up building a software platform to help teams manage their goals and to engage create team camaraderie. And actually, I'm announcing it for the first time here at 1 Million Cups Down
What?
that we had an exit this week, actually. On
Jen, you just
the
dropped it on us? Jen.
You know, I am so grateful.
I would not have worn this T-shirt. I would have dressed up. I literally have my T-shirt on.
You're awesome. No, this was like a really recent thing, and I've been presenting at 1 Million Cups around the country for the past almost 6 months, and so I am so grateful to the Milestonia is so grateful to the 1 Million Cups community for giving us this platform to talk to folks, because all of the feedback, all of the conversation we had really helped to enrich our thinking and how we talked about the platform. But the funny thing is, and I'll share a little bit of this in our presentation, the funny thing is, one of our pilot companies decided that this was a valuable enough tool for them. They decided to buy it. So we're still trying to figure out what that means. But what I'm here to tell everybody is that what we realized was what we were offering was more than just a tool. It was really a process and a philosophy and approach to team engagement and camaraderie. So that's what I'm here to share with folks today. We're in the middle of our pivot, but we think that what we have to say is still valuable. And I would love to get people's feedback on, where do we go from here?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm going to have to marinate on this. Is so exciting for you. And I can't wait. And I love this idea of it's not just a tool, not just a product, but it's a philosophy. It's a process. It's much bigger. And the fact that you were one of the success stories of COVID. I've said this so many times that COVID, of course, is still so challenging. Still is for a lot of us. But sometimes when we have these really difficult times, usually innovation pops up, and people who usually have a hustle and the spirit in there, they really come out and shine. So excited to hear your presentation. I'm going to leave our virtual stage, and let's bring your presentation back up and have a good time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jasmine, for the warm welcome. And hello, Dallas. So happy to be here and so exciting to share our news. What was interesting was when I was getting ready to do this presentation, I was thinking, wow, so much has changed. How much of this presentation do I have to rejigger? And there really wasn't a whole lot. A lot of what we've been doing as Milestonia has been about the process and the philosophy and the approach that we have to managing goals and engaging teams and creating camaraderie. So I'm going to talk through that today. And my ask at the end is going to be really, what do you think about our approach? What do you think we should do next? So here we are. So we have always been passionate about helping small businesses succeed. So with a tool, without the tool, being a consulting practice, that will always be at the heart of what we do. So would love to get your feedback. So excited to be here. So this was us actually pre-pandemic. We were all working for another startup, and we're really trying to figure out how to engage a remote and hybrid team. So we were living the reality that companies are about to enter into today. We were living this back in 2019. And what happened was, our situation was, declining revenue, lack of clarity, frustration, high turnover. And we developed this team engagement solution, which was about the software, but now we're realizing it really is about our process, approach, and philosophy. What we did was we created better clarity for everyone around their goals. We created a process for communicating the progress of those goals. We created full transparency across the team. Everybody knew what the status was of everything. And we used Milestonia to create that dashboard, but really, companies can use any tool to create that kind of transparency. We were using a spreadsheet, prior to actually building the tool, which we sold. We used the transparency to actually create social accountability when we had our weekly meetings. And we did find a way to win together. As we completed our goals, as we did the things that we said that we were going to do, we earned points and rewards, and that made it really fun. So our process delivers results. And this is the reason why one of our pilot companies decided to acquire the tool. We were able to get our team onto a path of 40% year-over-year revenue growth just from the focus alone. And it really came from that 5-step process I talked about. And then we also made that pretty dashboard visible in the Milestonia tool. We were able to do this with actually a decrease in expenses and experienced an increase in operating profit. So, we really created a situation where we were bringing value to the bottom line. We helped companies do more with what they had, which is the value that our purchasers saw. So we're really in the business of engaging future-ready teams aligned to the work that matters. And it doesn't matter now whether we're using Milestonia or another tool, although this was the Milestonia tool that we used. We made it fun with gifts and badges and leaderboards. And when people finished their goals, they had these fun gifts. So, but it was really the focus on the work and the 5-step process that we created in order to generate an accountability culture that really delivered the results. The dashboard just made it pretty. So this was a different company that was using Milestonia in the last 6 months. You can see the dashboard with the progress circles being completed, the points being earned, and the rewards being earned. This is the software tool that got bought. But again, as I said, the philosophy that we had, the process that we created around it really is transcends any tool. So the accountability culture that was created through the processes that we put in place, combined with the fact that we really have a philosophy around empowering the team member, like surrounding the team member with what they need to do a great job, this philosophy still stands. So this ecosystem that we created for the companies that we worked with, we talked about how to create a process of clarity, communication, and a winning culture. How to bring in the things that that would empower team members and help them to do their jobs better. We still believe that this is something that companies need to put in place and do independent of the tools that they use to present their progress. So the reason why this is impactful is we saw stats about the fact that only 31% of team members were engaged at work and that 90% of companies didn't achieve their goals. We also read research that high engagement leads to higher productivity and an increase in sales. So we really believe that with whatever tools people are using, there is a huge opportunity for impact by implementing processes such as ours. So if you look at the fact that there's 7 million US companies in the US that have fewer than 100 employees, so small teams, and 10% of them earn over $1 million in revenue, and 69% need team engagement and retention, we're really talking about a huge impact on the US economy. Between the increase in productivity and the retention, so the decreased turnover, plus the potential increase in the top line, companies can really experience increases in sales and productivity. That's what our pilot companies saw. That's what following a philosophy like this can produce. And we believe now that we can do this with companies independent of the tools that they're using. It really is about the process. So now we're exiting this SaaS software business. We were a SaaS software company, and now we're realizing that we're a process consulting company. So we're still trying to come up with better words to describe what we do, but we really feel that our process is really what added value and got companies on the right track, and then they used the software to make it stick. So, and again, I was looking at the quotes that we had from our team members and from our executive coaches and our families. And really what they were talking about was the benefit of the process that we put in place. The software that they used was great for showing progressive results, but until people got those processes in place and really embraced the philosophies of engaged teams, the clarity, communication, transparency, social accountability, winning together, it didn't all come together. It was really the philosophy that set the stage, and then the tool that made it stick. So we're in the process of thinking about what our consulting practice might look like. And we really believe that we can offer a performance guarantee where we start with what is your score around engagement, productivity, accountability, what are your team goals, and then after 3 months, what have you achieved? We really believe that we can do that for companies. We've seen it happen with the companies that we've worked with. And so we've now started to present on topics like goal setting and making it stick, and really talking about how teams can put practices like what we put in place, and benefit from them as a team. And we talk about defining your North Star and your nearest star, and how that creates a path to get to your to get to the major milestones that you need as a company. Results might vary along the way, but you got to keep focused on that North Star and break it down into achievable chunks as you go in order to be able to get there. And then we had also started offering events and workshops while we were trying to get people onboarded to the software platform. And we're thinking that we're going to continue to do this because we love having conversations with team leaders and with teams, and would love to continue to have these conversations as we move forward in order to help companies build accountability cultures. And with that, thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate your time and attention. Please reach out anytime in order to talk about goal setting and making it stick. It is a favorite topic of mine, and would love to share some of the philosophies we've put together and help translate those to your team.
So cool. I mean, it feels like, you've had a really crazy 6 months.
Yes, for sure. It's
understatement.
It's been fun. It's been, amazing. It's been exhausting.
I bet. Well, so we always like to ask Jen at the for every founder is how can the Dallas 1 Million Cups community support or help you right now?
Would really love feedback on what I shared today. This philosophy that we have, this consulting practice that we're about to launch. Would love to get thoughts and ideas from the community. It's been so valuable to have those discussions over the past 6 months presenting to 1 Million Cups. So really value what the community has to say. So bring it on.
Awesome. Well, I'm curious, you said that you're in a place now where you're kind of thinking about your kind of new positioning. You were a SaaS company, and now you're a process consulting company. Is that what you called it?
Those were the words that I came up with this morning. So
so you're still kind of just
we'll iterate that. We'll iterate that a bit. Looking for input.
Yeah. So what is your background? Are you or do you have a technical background? Can you tell us a little bit more about what you did before this?
Oh, sure. So before I was an entrepreneur, I was a marketing consultant. I still do that on the side. I work with small companies, partner with their CEOs to help them figure out growth game plans for their companies. So mostly it comes in the form of marketing strategy or sales strategy, but it's always about figuring out how to get companies to the next level with their products and their services.
Okay, cool. And where are you? Because I know you've done a couple of 1 Million Cups. Where are you all based?
So the company is based in Arizona. I'm physically based in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Oh, I'm jealous. Love San Francisco. Although a lot of your neighbors have been coming to Texas in droves. In Austin.
Well, and I was just in Texas last week. I was in Austin, and it's hopping. I mean,
it is.
Texas is open for business.
It has been. It sure has been, for sure. So what's been some of the challenges that you've all faced? I mean, I think you've had this really exciting news, but you're still kind of a new company. Can you tell us maybe some of the challenges that you've had and how you overcome those? And then most importantly, are you all pre-revenue, or where are you at in that stage? Or it sounds like you're not, but it sounds so new too.
Yeah. So quasi. I mean, we're generating revenue, but we're still pretty small small scale at this point. And the other thing that we had been doing while we were trying to present the SaaS software platform was we were developing relationships with other consultants and executive coaches. And we would still love to continue those relationships because, sometimes when you go into a company, what you do specifically isn't everything that they need. And having a cadre of partners that you can, a network, if you will, that you can bring in to serve the client is really important, to be able to do that quickly, to do it efficiently, and to do that on behalf of the client. So we're also looking for relationships with other exec coaches and consultants that love what we do, where we can be complementary in how we help companies grow and succeed.
Oh, great. Now, it sounded like your team has come together from another startup or multiple startups. It sounds like at the beginning. What are some of the challenges? I mean, I know that in COVID, we know those general challenges, right? Of just having access to things and things not being completely open. But what challenges have you experienced? The reason why is that I know our founders, regardless of what city or zip code you're in, being an entrepreneur has been really challenging. Just being a person during the last year has been really hard.
Yeah.
Actually trying to start a business, run a business, and you guys seem to have started something, you've gotten traction. So can you tell us about any challenges that you all faced, and then maybe kind of how you're dealing with those now, or how you maybe navigated through it?
So it's interesting that you asked that question, because I think the biggest challenge that entrepreneurs face is being able to prioritize time. Time is such a valuable resource. There is never enough time. Never enough time.
Nice.
And everyone always thinks, oh, well, I'll just work later, or I'll work the weekends. And you do that, and there's still not enough time.
Yes.
Right? So one of the things, and this is where actually our philosophy as a team, Milestonia's philosophy, came into play, is we realized that we really needed to keep everyone focused. Like, there's a lot of urgent stuff that happens every day, and the urgent tends to overtake the important. And that by using our own philosophy as a team of, North Star, nearest star goal setting, and keeping those really important goals front and center, and syncing on them every week, and talking about what's the progress they're making, it helped to ground us in trying to make progress against those big, some people call them WIGs, wildly important.
Yeah.
Having that dashboard and having that weekly meeting, and having to, making ourselves check in on those goals every week to say, did I move this forward? Did I move this forward? It sounds simplistic, and it sounds like, oh, everyone does that. But in reality, we don't. Right? We make to-do lists every day.
Yeah. Yep.
And if you look back on your to-do lists, they may not always be moving those important goals forward.
This is true.
And they feel important, right? They feel important, and they probably are important, but are they really important? And I think that's where our philosophy around North Star, nearest star, checking in weekly, reporting progress, being reminded of what we said at the beginning of the quarter were our wildly important goals. That's really what helped us make progress and move forward month over month. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to jettison those things that you put on your to-do list, but more often than not, you've got a list of 10 things, and 2 of them relate to your WIGs. And you have to decide, because I can't do all 10.
Yes.
Which ones do I do? How much do I do? And it forces you into an economizing conversation with yourself, right? It's like, okay, I would have done it this way, and it would have taken this amount of time. You know what? I'm just going to do it this way. It's going to be good enough.
Yeah.
And I'm going to move on. Right. And sometimes that works. Sometimes, it doesn't, and you have to recognize that and learn for the next time. But sometimes it's good enough. And as an entrepreneur, you have to have those conversations with yourself every day, every week, because there's never going to be enough time.
I think that's such wise advice. And I think regardless if you've just started out, and I've started several companies, and you're exactly right. Time management and what's important is still something I battle too. Thinking about the space you're in, when we think about, how people are working today, and the rise of remote working, and the need for increased team collaboration and productivity. this category seems to have ramped up, naturally speaking, over the last year. But it does sound like you've got some, it sounds like the difference maybe, and you can help me clarify this, is it the clarification of goals and the detail orientedness around that? Because I know a lot of the other tools that are for project management or team productivity, it's just goal setting and project management, very general speaking. And it's kind of up to the user to make sure things are moving ahead. Is that what it sounds like Milestonia is? Is that Milestonia is kind of like a support for that for you?
Exactly. And what we had done, what was different was we put in the gamification element to it. As you complete your goals, you get points. As you earn points, the team earns rewards. And by having the fun gifts and the leaderboards, we were trying to engage people in the goal setting. But what was interesting was, even with those things, if people don't update it every week, if people don't go into the tool to report their progress, it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter that you've got a great gamification tool. And that was really when we realized, this is about probably 10 months ago, we realized that the tool wasn't enough. We had to help companies with these processes. So we almost birthed the consulting side of our business alongside the software, because people weren't putting those processes in place that would make the goal setting stick. And actually, I just did a presentation a week ago around that was the title of the presentation, goal setting and making it stick. And the making it stick part of it is really about those 5 points that I talked about of creating an accountability culture, and how you can put that in place as a leader, how you can put that in place for yourself, creating accountability partners in order to be able to have somebody that you trust and respect, help you be honest with yourself around the progress that you're making against your goals. It's that social accountability component that really helps make that progress, move it forward. So we really, believe that it's that philosophy that will really move people forward, and then they can use any tool, because the tools themselves, we talked to plenty of the tool providers, they're friendly competitors, if you will. They're suffering from the same thing. People aren't using it,
right?
And oftentimes what happens is it's a top-down thing, right? Management says we have to use this. Management says we're doing OKRs. Management says that we're doing, which is fine, but it doesn't necessarily get people to do the right things, right? So we really believe that it starts from that process, that culture, that that desire to be disciplined around the check-in process.
Yes.
And then it actually sticks. So being disciplined about the check-in, being disciplined about the things that will create social accountability for yourself and for others, those are the things that move people forward on their goals.
So this sounds really cool. I'm excited to check it out. How can people, if they're curious about exploring it, kind of want to test it out, how can they first connect with you in the company if they've got questions? We of course welcome everyone to leave these in the comments throughout this week, because this video will be played throughout the whole week into next week. So if you've got questions, leave them in the comments. But if they want to reach out directly to you or your team, what's the best way?
So my email address is jen@milestonia.com.
Okay.
Really easy. Also connect with me on LinkedIn. That's a great place to have a conversation, and then we'll set up a meeting if it looks like I can be helpful in helping leaders or team members figure out how to create accountability cultures for their organization.
Okay, great. And if I'm interested in getting signed up now, would I just go directly to the website?
Yes, you can go directly to the website. It's we're still in flux, so it's hard to know how long we'll be able to allow people to sign up for free. But you can go to the website, click register, and you could actually create a free account.
Okay. And then finally, let us know, is there any final notes or thoughts you want to share about the company? And then your last piece of big advice for the founders that are excited about things starting to open up. They've held on. They're trying to end this next half of the year, like on a really big note. Maybe not quite an exit yet, Jen, because we can't all be superstars just yet. But but if we're working,
lucky.
that's okay. But you guys put a lot of hard work into. But any one big piece of advice for our community?
Oh goodness. I just have to say that the 1 Million Cups community has been amazing. And there's so many chapters that are still operating virtually.
Yeah.
And founders should take advantage of that. Um, I plan to go back to the communities I visited to
Oh,
share
good.
our story, just because I think it's important for people to see, journeys and to realize that sometimes you can make a pivot that you didn't expect, and it turns out okay.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's the entrepreneurial way, right? To be able to say, here's my path. Where am I going? And it turns out okay. So, but I really do want to also pay it forward to the 1 Million Cups community, just because they've been so helpful to me. So any advice or help that I can give to other founders, would love to be able to do that. So my advice is go visit other 1 Million Cups, get to know those communities. They really, truly are communities that are embracing of everyone, and you'll learn a ton.
Oh, that's awesome. I totally agree. I'm always encouraging the founders, and we've always encouraged them here in the state to go visit the different chapters, but you're exactly right. So many chapters are still doing virtually. So such an awesome opportunity to connect and get in front of just some new faces and new ideas and new thoughts too. So Jen, thank you so much for joining the Dallas community today. We're thrilled for you in the company and excited to see what's going to happen. We for sure want to have you come back, because I feel like the next 6 months, probably the next month, it's probably going to be some crazy, amazing stuff for you, but we'd love to have you come back in the next 6 months to a year to see what's happening with you all, what's going on. If you've got blown up and you're like superstar at that point, you're like, you hopefully won't be too busy for us, but we'd love to have you back.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate the opportunity, Jasmine. And thank you to the Dallas community for having me.
Thank you so much, Jen. Well, that was cool, right? Aren't you guys excited to check out Milestonia? I love that, because I use a lot of different tools, and I'm definitely someone that it's like I was triggered a little bit when Jen was speaking, because I make a prolific to-do list. I write them down. I also use tools for them. And it's so true. You really do need some support with that, because it's challenging just to keep everything afloat. And I think the economization of your goal setting, I think she said something like this, is so important. Like, what's really important, what's going to drive things forward, and what's going to move the needle. And it's so easy to get distracted because there's so much stuff to do, and it's never ending. And it's always something to do as a founder, as an entrepreneur. So I love the fact that this tool is looking at it from a different lens of perspective. And I think it's about finding the right tool that works for your company and for you too. So if you want to check out Milestonia, we will definitely, of course, include the links. This video will be up probably in the next day. So if you want to go back and watch it, if you're tuning in live, you can definitely do so. If you want to connect with Jen, we'll also show this, post this on LinkedIn too. So without further ado, I want to thank you all for tuning in with us this week. We're excited to hopefully be coming back in person, but we'll be virtual leading up until the first week of August, where we'll have our first in-person event at Dallas Startup Week, which we're really thrilled about. Tune in for more details. We'd love you to be part of our big organizing team for that event. We're going to need a big team for that, because we're expecting a big audience. But after that, if you'd like to join us on a weekly basis and help support founders and be part of the community, we'd love to hear from you. So shoot us a DM, or if you know me personally, feel free to email me or DM me as well. So I hope you all have a fantastic week. We will be back virtually in 2 weeks. But until then, tune in on all of our social channels. We'll be posting this video, and also we'll kind of give you some highlights of some other founders too. So hope you guys have a